Trump got hoodwinked into this last year. This began in June when he basically got convinced to help Israel end the war in June of 2025, a war that basically destroyed Iran's nuclear program enrichment capacity, but caused the inspectors to be kicked out so that the international community had no visibility whatsoever on the Iranian nuclear program because of the actions that Israel and America took. And so then Netanyahu used that lack of visibility on the nuclear program to begin pressuring and lobbying Trump to basically launch a war for whatever reason. And he was out there talking about the missile program and then the proxies and the Houthis and the nuclear program, everything but the kitchen sink. This is something that he has wanted, Benjamin Netanyahu, for 30 years. It's his lifelong dream to overthrow the Islamic Republic. And so then you had these protests, and then Trump was checkmate into making certain statements that tested the credibility of the United States. He urged the protesters to go out into the streets. He was told by his aides and the Lindsey Grahams and Benjamin Netanyahus that Iran was weak now. This is the time. Get those protesters out there. He made those statements, and there was this massive slaughter of protesters and maybe others as well who were involved with the protesters. Trump is in a situation where he has promised to help these protesters. Help is on its way, and no help was on its way. Lots of people were killed. He was essentially told that Iran was weak now. This is the time we can deliver the knockout blow. We can do, and he was high off of the successes of Venezuela. And so he basically went there and took all this machinery there. His generals told them this would be very, very, very hard. He fired those generals until he got the ones that told him that they could deliver on something. And then they basically launched this war on a hope and a prayer that they would just kill Khamenei on day one and then it would be over. And that's not what's going to happen because he didn't consult with anyone who knows the Middle East or knows Iran. So that's where we are. It was a war in search of a strategy. It is still in search of a strategy. And so that's the confusion that everyone is sensing, that there is no plan, there is no end game. It changes every hour. That's the disaster and tragedy of where we're at.
I'm thinking maybe about the future in the next couple of days, say 72 hours. What is the worst case scenario from your perspective?
I think that if there is this talk about the Kurds and other groups, maybe remnants of ISIS, that are supposedly connected to other intelligence services in the region, the Baluchi separatists, if they are armed and they become activated and then they become, essentially cannon fodder for Trump and Israel's ambitions, and that ignites some kind of civil war, because it's a fantasy to think that the Kurds are going to take over northern Iran, because that's where the Azeris are, and the Azeris are very strong, and they're, quite pro-regime in their own way, and the Baluchis are tiny, the minorities, so that is a failed strategy, and many of the Kurds are also pro-regime. They're split as well, and so there's this kind of fantasy. They're sold by these, demented think tanks in Washington, by these ideological paid actors. This is the corruption of Washington, where foreign policy becomes domestic policy, and basically it's a casino where anyone who has enough money can buy a politician to advocate their policy.